You keep calling it anxiety because that word feels safe. It sounds clinical, familiar, manageable. But what if some of the pressure in your chest is not only about stress, deadlines, or overthinking? What if part of it is a warning that something inside your life has been left spiritually unguarded? You wake up tired. You check your phone before your feet touch the floor. You carry a sense of danger even when nothing is happening. And after a while, fear stops feeling like an interruption. It starts feeling like your personality. Was it really who you are? You may have learned to function while afraid. You answer messages. You go to work. You smile when needed. Yet underneath everything, your mind keeps rehearsing loss. Something will go wrong. Someone will leave. The future will collapse. You tell yourself this is preparation, but preparation has quietly become torment. Scripture does not shame you for feeling fear. It reveals what fear tries to become when it is allowed to rule. In 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, fear is contrasted with power, love, and a sound mind. That means the battle is not merely about feeling nervous. It is about what is shaping your inner world. There is a difference between a warning and a master. A warning speaks, then lets you choose. A master speaks, then demands obedience. Anxiety often begins as a signal. Something hurts. Something feels uncertain. Something needs attention. But when every signal becomes a command, your peace starts shrinking. You avoid the conversation. You cancel the plan. You delay the prayer. You keep the light on. You replay the same thought until it feels like prophecy. How many decisions have you called wisdom when they were really fear wearing a serious face? The deeper danger is not that you feel anxious. The deeper danger is that you begin building your life around anxiety. You arrange your routines to avoid discomfort. You choose what feels controllable instead of what is true. You stop moving toward anything that requires trust. Slowly, fear becomes an invisible architect. It decides who you speak to, what you attempt, how deeply you love, and even how honestly you pray. Then one day, you realize your world is smaller, but you cannot remember when the walls moved inward. This is where the Bible becomes uncomfortable. In Matthew 6, Jesus does not treat worry as a harmless habit. He connects it to divided attention. Your eyes are on tomorrow while your body is trapped in today. Your mind is trying to survive a future that has not arrived. You are spending strength on imagined disasters, then wondering why you have none left for the real day in front of you. The warning is not cruel. It is merciful. It exposes the cost of carrying what you were never given the power to control. But there is another layer. Sometimes what you call anxiety is the exhaustion of living against your own conscience. A hidden compromise. A relationship you know is draining your peace. A habit you keep defending. A room in your life you refuse to open before God. The mind does strange things when the soul is divided. You may feel restless without knowing why. You may blame your schedule, your hormones, your environment, or other people. Yet deep inside, you already know the place where peace began to disappear. What have you been refusing to name? King Saul once felt spiritual distress, but he kept treating the pain around the surface while protecting the disobedience underneath. He wanted relief without surrender. That pattern still lives in modern life. You want the racing thoughts to stop, but you do not want to release the habit feeding them. You want peace, but you keep returning to the same content, the same conversation, the same secret, the same midnight cycle. You pray for calm, then spend another hour filling your mind with fear. Relief becomes impossible because the source is still being welcomed. This does not mean every anxious feeling is caused by sin or spiritual attack. Your body can be overwhelmed. Trauma can leave deep marks. Sleep deprivation can distort your thoughts. Professional care can be wise and necessary. But even then, discernment still matters. The spiritual question is not, why am I anxious, alone? It is also, what does this fear keep pushing me to believe? Does it tell you that you are abandoned? That disaster is inevitable? That you must control everyone? That rest is dangerous? That God is near to others but distant from you? A lie does not need to sound dramatic to become powerful. It only needs to be repeated. That is why Proverbs 4 verse 23 warns you to guard your heart. because everything flows from it. Guarding your heart is not pretending to be strong. It is noticing what enters, what stays, and what quietly takes authority. The video you watch before sleep, the voice you replay after an argument, the prediction you keep making, the memory you visit every night. These things may feel private, but they are shaping the atmosphere of your mind. Peace does not always arrive when the problem disappears. Sometimes peace appears when control finally breaks. You stop demanding to know every outcome. You stop rehearsing every emergency. You stop treating uncertainty like proof of danger. Philippians 4 does not promise a life without pressure. It describes peace guarding the heart and mind in the middle of prayer, gratitude, and honest request. Guarding means something is trying to enter. Peace is not passivity. It is protection. But that protection requires participation. You cannot feed fear all day and expect one hurried prayer at night to erase it. You cannot open every door to chaos, then ask why your inner room feels crowded. The habits matter. The voices matter. The first minutes of your morning matter. The final thoughts before sleep matter. Not because routines save you, but because routines reveal what you trust. When anxiety rises, what do you reach for first? A screen? A person? A prediction? Or the presence of God? There may be one practical detail you have overlooked. Anxiety grows in vagueness. It thrives when everything feels wrong, but nothing is named. The moment you identify the exact fear, its power often changes. I am afraid I will fail. I am afraid they will leave. I am afraid I will lose control. Now the shadow has a shape. Now the belief can be examined. Now you can ask whether it is true, whether it is useful, and whether it agrees with what God has already said. Until fear is named, it can pretend to be the whole sky. You do not need to become fearless overnight. You need to stop treating every fearful thought like an instruction. Let's speak, but do not let it lead. Bring the hidden sentence into the light. Test it. Pray through it slowly. Replace the frantic question, "How do I control this?" with a harder question, "What would trust look like in the next 10 minutes?" Maybe trust looks like turning off the phone. Maybe it looks like telling the truth. Maybe it looks like asking for help. Maybe it looks like sleeping without solving tomorrow. The real battle may not be between calm and anxiety. It may be between surrender and control. One promises certainty and gives you chains. The other asks for trust and slowly returns your breath. You have called this anxiety for so long that you may have stopped asking what it is protecting, what it is hiding, and what it is demanding. But tonight, when the room is quiet and the familiar pressure returns, you will notice something different. The fear will speak. The question is whether you will obey. You kept calling it anxiety because that explanation felt safe. Now you must decide whether it is only a feeling or a deeper voice you can no longer afford to follow.